I'm going to share with you today a piece of advice that I think every single service provider needs to hear, and that is that you need to stop switching strategies. And you switching strategies is probably the reason why you're not really where you want to be right now, and I'm going to walk you through why. Before you ever in business think that you need a new strategy, I want you to listen up and really consider this, because 80% of the time, and this is speaking from, I've worked with 85 clients one-to-ones, this is speaking from all that experience, 80% of the time, it is not a new strategy you need. You do not need a new strategy, and actually switching strategies is probably the worst thing that you could be doing right now, because it is holding you back, and this is the reason why you are actually staying stuck, because you are switching strategies, because you are hopping over to another strategy. And, you know, it's so interesting, I think, with this kind of conversation, because we see so often service providers seeing it not working and switching strategies. But actually what you should be doing is really focusing on making the strategy that you already have work. By that, I mean, give it the time it actually needs. Most strategies are not designed to show you results within 1 week, within 30 days, within a few weeks, within a few months even sometimes. Most strategies will actually take a minimum of 90 days for you to actually start seeing the results. And that's start seeing the results. It's not even the full potential of this, but I see so often people will try something for, 1 week, they'll try something for 1 month and then say, it's not working, great, I'm gonna switch strategies. Whereas actually you've already started building up that momentum for that one strategy. And if we then cut that straight off and switch over to something else, we're literally holding ourselves back from actually seeing results in the first place. And switching strategies was not the move here. It was not the thing that we wanted to be doing. So even once you have given it that time as well, even once you have given it the 90 days, for example, the strategy still isn't typically wrong. I think there's very, very few cases, if you've got the right kind of strategy in place, i.e. you've been taught it by someone, you know that this is something that does actually work, you've seen it tangibly work for someone else in your industry, or you know it has worked for you in the past, etc. The strategy typically is not wrong at all. So first, yes, give it the time, give it those 90 days, don't even question it, just do it for 90 days, then we can analyze this and evaluate this after. But actually, even after those 90 days, the strategy isn't typically wrong. It is just the other factors around this, and we need to just figure out what isn't actually working, because a lot of the time we'll jump to the conclusion of, oh, things aren't working right now, I'm not getting the results I want, so the strategy must be wrong, so I'll change the strategy, when that is not the case. Actually, if we were to look at everything, it could very much be, okay, the strategy, there's nothing wrong with that specifically, but if we look at what isn't working, maybe I'm just on the wrong platform for social media, for example. Maybe actually I'm marketing in the wrong place. The marketing strategy that I'm using is working. It is actually a good one. It's a perfectly valid one, but I'm reaching the wrong type of people, or I'm marketing in the wrong place, for example. So it's really helpful to actually take a look at what actually isn't working before we just jump to this blanket conclusion of it's the strategy, we'll change the strategy here. Take a look at some of those other factors around it, because, even if I was to give you the best strategy in the world for marketing your services, for example, if you're on the wrong platform where your ideal client isn't, it's not going to work still. It can be as good of a strategy as we want it to be. It can be the best strategy in the world, but it's not going to work if we're doing it in the wrong place. So actually figuring out what is the problem itself before just concluding that the strategy itself needs to change is what we really want to be focusing on here. And as soon as, this is the really powerful part as well, it's just science, it's just math at this point, of as soon as you give the strategy the time and give it the right conditions, so the right factors around it, as in you're marketing in the right place, you're marketing to the right people, etc. If you actually give it those things, you will get results. It's not a case of, is this going to happen? Is it going to work? It's just science at this point. You do actually get the results if you give it the time and if you give it the right conditions. But starting over with a brand new strategy every 2 months, as in building up that momentum, building up that progress, and then going back to square one because it felt like it wasn't working, literally just throws you right back to step one every single time. So of course it's going to be hard to actually see any real results then, because we're building a month's progress and then we're going straight back to square one. Then we're building another month's progress, then we're going straight back again. And it's really hard to see results from that perspective. So this was the big reminder I wanted to give you of actually stick with your strategy. Number one, give it time. If you haven't tried it for 90 days, put your head down, get to work, focus on this for 90 days, then we can evaluate. Then we can figure out how good it was, how it actually works, but just give it 90 days so it actually has the time to properly start working for you. And then secondly to that, look at the other conditions around it. Look at, okay, if the strategy wasn't wrong, what else could it be around this that is actually causing this to not give me the results or to not work in the way that I'm wanting it to right now? And focus on fixing the conditions and the factors around it versus trying to change the strategy. So that is my advice to you, to stop switching strategies, to actually stick with one strategy. And that is how you can actually get the really big results from that and actually start building real momentum in your business as well. If you found this helpful, make sure you give this video a like and make sure you subscribe as well so you don't miss the daily videos. And on that note, I will see you in the next one tomorrow.